Your host and instructor in this videotape is a man who has become known in many parts of the world through his enthusiasm and efforts to expand the world awareness of the field of martial arts. His name is Clifford C. Crandall Jr., and he is a 6th degree black belt and the executive director of the American Kang Da Kwan Association. He is a full-time martial artist that has produced 3 other instructional videotapes, a home entertainment series, and authored a book in the field of the martial arts. He hosts the Martial Arts Today TV show, which airs in the United States and Canada. Through the past 6 years of the TV show, he has represented the spirit and goodwill of the martial arts with coverage around the world. As a retired superintendent of schools in the state of New York, with classroom teaching experience plus the unusual combination of once being a principal of an elementary school K-4 and principal of a high school, Mr. Crandall brings to the martial arts programming a unique educational professionalism. Since the release of his first instructional videotape entitled The Tonfa, an Extension of the Mind and Body, Clifford Crandall's recognition as a master of this tool has grown. He has passed his love and enthusiasm of this ancient tool to others through teaching seminars, lectures, and personal performances. Now the Tonfa Master is bringing to you, the martial arts practitioner, a new challenge, the Swirling Dragon, a high-impact tournament kata filled with excitement and innovation. Let's go now to the master himself and the instructional program surrounding the Swirling Dragon.
Welcome. This is an advanced instructional videotape in the use of the Tonfa and teaches a 2 Tonfa tournament kata called the Swirling Dragon. If you are interested in the history or the general background of the Tonfa and possibly a single Tonfa kata, then I might suggest the book or videotape, The Tonfa, an Extension of the Mind and Body. This book and videotape is beneficial not only for martial artists, but also for law enforcement officials who use the PR-24 or the baton Tonfa in their line of work. The Tonfa is basically 2 sections, the short stick and the long stick. And as you can see here by the chart, we are going to be using these names throughout this instructional videotape so that you have an idea of what part of the Tonfa we're referring to when we talk about certain strikes and certain blocks. The parts being labeled A, B, C, and D, from C to B is the long end of the long stick, from A to B is the long stick, from D to C, the short stick, and the short end of the long stick is C to A. The kata, as it has been presented for instruction in this videotape, was not executed to music, although it lends itself to 2 or 3 different kinds of background music. I feel when the kata is used as a musical kata, the choice of music should be yours, the individual practitioner, for it will change the pace and speed of the execution of the kata. I first began using this kata 5 years ago, and over the past 5 years, through an evolutionary process, it has changed from my original design to a form now, I believe, worth documenting. As in the kata yamchi, the thread of success in the Swirling Dragon is up to the individual practitioner because it's dependent on your intensity, your mental involvement in the form. As you would any kata, make it come alive. There are some unique spots in this kata as we cross the oceans and the borderlines between Japan, China, Korea, and American martial arts history. As a martial arts educator, I think you will have fun and success with this kata. And I also hope you enjoy the interweaving of the vines of the many martial arts in the kata, the Swirling Dragon. The next segment of this instructional videotape is the stretching segment. Stretching is essential. through stretching, we prepare the body for movement and speed. In effect, we wake the body and the mind up, allowing us to have greater power, control, and flow in the kata, also resulting in less chance of injury. Let's go to that segment now. Welcome. This is the warm-up section of this instructional videotape, and I'm pleased to introduce the individuals that will be assisting me in this instructional videotape, two of my black belts who from the very outset found in the martial arts weaponry a fondness with the Tonfa. First to my right, Mr. Alan Hillikos, who is a chief instructor in American King Kwan. He's a 4th degree black belt. He's been my student for over 13 years, and he is a true Tonfa stylist. It's a pleasure having you assist us. Yep. It's a pleasure. And to my left, Miss Christy Vaca. Miss Vaca is a black belt instructor in American King Kwan. She's a 2nd degree black belt. She's been my student for over 9 years, and she too is a true Tonfa stylist. It's a pleasure having you with us. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to start off by waking up the mind and the body, preparing ourselves for the kata that we're going to be studying in this videotape. So we're going to do a series of stretching exercises. First, we're going to do some push-ups. We'll do them on our in-steps. Here we go. Down. You can do them on your knuckles, on your fingertips, or your palms. 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to do them with our feet to the left and to the right. Now many of you may be able to go all the way down, but that's not the point. The point is keep yourselves up a little bit, lean forward with your upper chest. 10 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Bring your feet in. Arm swings, left and right. Again, just loosening up, waking up the mind and the body. Arms to the side, neck rolls to the left, to the right. Good. Hands on our hips, bend and bounce. To the left, my left first. We're going to do 5 of them in each corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And backwards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very good. Stand and twist our hands from our left foot or the floor as far down as you can go. Up, raise them, keep your arms locked in, twist up over your right side. Let's do 2 more. Second one, third one. Now from the right side up over the left. 1, 2, 3. Good. Right down into a back stance, a deep stretching back stance. Just like this. Now, many can put their leg all the way down, not the point. Keep your foot flat to the floor, point the toes up, lightly bounce, gently bounce. Good, let's switch feet. Other side, lightly bounce, nice and gentle. Good, good. Sit right down, left foot over right, ankle circles. One direction, then the other direction. Switch feet, right over left, and back. Good. Bring your feet in. Push your knees down, nice and gentle. Stand up. One of the nice things about extension tools, or the weapons of the martial arts, as far as extension tools, is that anyone can do them. It doesn't matter on your school or style. It doesn't jeopardize the tradition and purity of your empty hand style. That is a real plus. We are going to go through some stances and some other aspects of the martial arts to give you an idea of the names that will be affiliated with the stances and techniques in this kata. We're going to go to that next. And here we are with the stances, starting with chumbi, meaning the ready stance. Our first stance is going to be the front stance, front left stance. The front stance is very common in many styles. Here is the front right stance. Weight distribution in a front stance is typically 60-40. The back leg locked with the back heel to the floor. As you can see from the side view, the front leg perpendicular to the floor. That is a front stance. Back stance, another very common stance. 70-30 normal weight distribution. Most of the weight on the back leg with a little bend in the front knee. The heels tend to line up so that if you bring the front foot back, straight back, it'll touch the heel of the back foot, making a right angle. This is a little skip into what's called an X stance. Your feet crossing over, a little X stance. As you can see, the legs actually making the X. This is a horse stance, 50-50 weight distribution. Your center of gravity is equally distributed to both feet, and a traditional horse stance with both feet facing directly forward. This is San-chin, or the San-chin stance, called by some Kihondachi. The back heel, although pointing at a 45-degree angle, lines up with that front toe. This stance here is the leaning front stance. A leaning front stance. You can step into it or drop back into it. And we end with chumbi. Now we're at kicks. Starting in that chumbi stance, we'll move into a front left stance. And we'll first do a center kick. It's a high center kick. A center kick can be done low, center, or high. This is a high center kick. Now that front left stance again for the side kick to the side, blading the foot. Side kicks also can be done low, center, or high. Let's move into a back stance. And from the back stance, a roundhouse instep kick, high. Again, it could be low, center, or high. This is a roundhouse instep kick, high. Now we'll move into that back stance again. This time it's a spinning back kick. Blading the foot, driving the kick to the chest area, more to the middle so that you can look over it and see your target. A little close up with Miss Vacca. This kick, the axe kick, becoming very common in martial arts tournaments. The axe kick can come from the inside out or the outside in. And now back to chumbi. Now we are ready to begin. Let's go to the blocking segment with Christy Vacca. Now at the blocking section with Miss Vacca. Her first block from chumbi is the down block. This is a traditional down block, moving forward and backward in a front stance. The down block to the left and the down block to the right. This block is the high block. The high block coming up the front of the body and then angling, protecting the head as well as the arm with the tonfa. The high block. This is the center block. Depending on the style, some styles would refer to it as an outside block, but we refer to it here as a center block from the inside going out. Outside block. This one coming from the outside in, the outside block, being done here in a horse stance. The outside block towards the camera in the horse stance. This is the X block, and it would be referred to as a low X block. You can see how the tonfas cross, catching the leg, the kick, or whatever's being thrown at you. This is a high X block. This is a double block, high and low in a back stance. A double block, high and low. Here we are striking with the V. That is the short stick and the short end of the long stick of the tonfa. You first flip the tonfa, re-grabbing and driving with the V structure of the tonfa. Now the circular guard, referred to by that name because it is circular in its technique and it guards the front of your body, keeping the attackers away. This is referred to as the windmill. Let's take a closer look at the windmill, a little bit slower. Comes up the inside of the arm, the wrist pivots, and then to the outside of the arm. A very common technique in the use of the tonfa, and we will look at it again later in this instructional videotape. But let's watch it one more time here. With a better understanding of the blocking of the tonfa, we can now move on to the striking. The tonfa is a good striking tool, and there are many ways that you can strike with the tonfa. Let's move on to that instructional section with Alan Hillicost. The striking section. Here, stepping forward, Mr. Hillicost strikes with the short end of the long stick. A very penetrating kind of strike, very similar to a lunge punch. Here it becomes very similar to a reverse punch. Striking with the long end of the long stick, again stepping forward, driving your assailant back, or as you retreat, the long end of the long stick as a striking tool. Now, by flipping the tonfa, you can strike with the short stick in a hammer strike fashion, or as a ridge hand or hammer fist to the side, which could be accompanied by a pulling. Now the short stick strikes to the side by pivoting the arm. And here we see the hammer strike. The hammer strike can be done with the tonfas extended or drawn back. Here we are striking with the V. That's the short stick and the short end of the long stick. Like we blocked with it, you can also flip the stick and strike with the V. Also, the spin strike. The spin strike, very much like some of the ones the police use when they draw their baton tonfas. As it comes out, it sweeps across your body either high or low. and chumbi. Let's take a look at some of the practical application of the blocks of the Tonfa. High blocks, low blocks, X blocks. Let's watch those now in practice. Let's take a look at how to flip the Tonfa so that we can more effectively use the short stick. It's a roll. Let the Tonfa drop down onto your fingers so that the short stick lies on your fingers, and then literally just roll it over the back of your hand. This is a front flip. To the side, this is what it looks like. You'll see that you have to reposition your hand after you re-grab the long end of the long stick. Now the double flip. Both Tonfas simultaneously. This move is in the Swirling Dragon Kata twice, the double flip. In each stance structure, the double flip to the side. A single flip and to the side. Here now is the flip to the side with the Tonfa. We had the front flip, the double flip, and as was indicated earlier, now we show the side flip. This next execution of the flip is the back flip. To date, you probably will not have seen it done anywhere else except here in this tape, for I am considered the only person that uses this technique right now. It flips right over the back of the hand out into the palm for the strike. And chumbi. And here the windmill. I said we'd go over it one more time. The faster it goes, the smoother it is, but doing it slow so that you can get an idea on how it's structured. The Tonfa comes forward, and as it does, the palm of your hand goes up with the wrist flipping. Then it comes out again, the long end of the long stick. Turn your palm down in your wrist, extend your elbow so that you don't strike it, and then the long end of the long stick goes out again. When you recock it, you bring your arm back, bending the elbow, and the Tonfa should rest across your bicep, tricep as it's recocked. It's a figure 8 motion with a little pumping action from the elbow structure of the arm, and definitely the flip of the palm up, palm down at the wrist. Very typical move with the use of the Tonfa, common in many Tonfa katas, but one that will cause you some bruises in your early stages of practice. Let's watch the double windmill. Both tonfas simultaneously, extending out, back, around, and down. The pumping out of the arms, the pushing out, keeps the tonfas away from your face as they come up the front of your body. Flipping the wrist is a key action. The windmill. In this section of this instructional videotape, we are going to go over certain segments of the kata as they apply to the image or the imaginary opponents. All right, this should help you in being able to become involved in the kata, put the power and the intensity that's needed in the kata. As many of you realize, katas are a series of motions doing blocks and strikes and other techniques to fight off imaginary opponents. They are used by many martial artists, some of which who are separated by distance, many miles from their instructor, to practice their form and style. They are also used by martial artists to bring peace and harmony between their mind and their body. And also, they are used by many students in regards to practice sessions. There are katas that involve one individual. Iaido katas many times. A sword kata involving one individual. Many of the judo katas involve two practitioners working together. All sorts of styles around the world use katas. But no matter what they use their katas for as far as training, they bring to the individual a learning experience, an understanding of a style, a better understanding of certain techniques, and most importantly, a better understanding of themselves. Let's take some of the segments from the Swirling Dragon and break them down to give you an understanding of what I see and what is happening when this kata is being executed. First of all, let's have Mr. Hillicost come out. Sir. We're going to take one of the segments of the kata, and we'll start at this stage here. And the first move of this segment we're looking at is stepping forward, and it's a low X block. This low X block is blocking a kick. So when you block, you know you're putting that power behind it to stop that kick from coming up. The next move is a high block. That person that you just blocked their kick and drove them back is stumbling back, but they have something in their hand, whether it's just a hammer fist or whether it's a club or a stick. They try to strike you with that in a hammer strike motion, and that's the block. You've struck their leg and the block causes discomfort. You've struck their arm. They're backing up, but they're staggering, and the next move is your counter. This is the double penetrating strike with the short end of the long stick. Let's back up one more time, Mr. Hillicost. From that position, step forward. It is blocking the leg with intensity and stopping that leg from coming up and driving them back. The next move is moving forward, blocking the hand technique as it comes. And the third move is the counter. Good. This is one segment. And if you realize we're attacking, actually, they're attacking us. We are really meeting their oncoming force with the necessary force and completing this neutralization of the attack with our counter to one attacker. Not three, one attacker. All right, let's move on to another segment of the Swirling Dragon. Let's take another segment of the kata, the Swirling Dragon, and look at the imaginary attackers. One of the things that I want to point out right now is that a lot of students, the early new students into the area of the martial arts, don't realize that every single move of a kata does not necessarily mean an attacker. You may block an attacker, you may counter and strike to an attacker, but there are moves, most of the time they are breathing moves or blocking moves, that are transitional moves. For example, if you strike or counter an attacker, When you turn to see if there's another attacker, you don't drop your arms to your side and just look around and go, are there any other attackers here? No, you turn and you look, but you turn in a defensive posture. You protect yourself as you turn, whether it's to turn with a high block, whether it's to turn in a down block with a knife hand, guards your solar plexus, but you turn in a defensive posture as you look. That's why sometimes when you turn in a move or a kata, you don't counter, because there's nobody there that you're blocking. You're looking to see where the next attacker is. Let's look at a segment right now from the Swirling Dragon and see where the imaginary attackers are. Miss Vacca, if you'll come out and help.
Yes, sir.
From her first move here, this isn't doing anything but preparing her. And what she does now is a breathing technique. Go ahead. And she's okay. And out the sticks go. And she looks to the left. She looks to the right. These two moves haven't done anything yet. They've prepared her. She's brought them out, they've prepared her. She's looked to the left, now she's looked to the right. What she has done at that moment is she's looked to see this attacker to the far left and how close they are. She's looking now to her right to see how close this attacker is. There's two of them. She can see them out of her peripheral vision. Now she wants to really identify them. She knows at this moment the closer one, the one that's going to be most dangerous to her, is from the left. She snaps her head to the left and kicks low. This kick is to the knee as the person came in. It's to the knee. They double over. She now kicks high. Boom. To the head, to the chest, and drives them back. She spins, difficult part of the kata, to hold her balance, because she hasn't got time to set down into a stance again. This attacker is taking advantage of the fact that she's committed herself to that person over there. This attacker has rushed in, and they're about to strike her in the back of the head. She spins, same technique, low to the knee, bend them over and drive them back. Spins down in and sets in for the next segment. All right? Moving back and relaxing. That's another segment in the imaginary attackers that we're looking at. In this segment of the Swirling Dragon, the imaginary attacker is being driven back. Let's take a look at this segment, an image, so that we can focus our concentration on the move. Starting here, it is a block. This person is right in front of him, and it's a big person. It's a strong person. A block, then he steps, driving the person back with the long end of the long stick. This is a technique that can be used when you're using a PR-24, as the police officers many times do. You block and then drive them back. Push the crowd back. Push this huge individual back. They stumble a little bit, but they're not giving way. And they may even try to grab the end of the stick. There's ways of making them let go. This is one. Then you step and slide their hold off that stick and step and push them back again. They're now losing their balance. You have again not been the aggressor. You've pushed them back and pushed them back, hoping that they would retreat from their aggressive movements. They have not. You now counter with a low instep, then a high instep. Good. Let's come back here again. All right, it is. We stand up on our X stance. There's the block. Step and drive them back. They grab the tonfa, pull their grab off and drive them back. They aren't going to give up. You counter. The attacker is now out of the picture. Good. Good. Thank you very much. This is another segment on how we fight off the imaginary attackers in the Swirling Dragon. Let's take a look at another segment of the Swirling Dragon and the imaginary attackers. Miss Vacca, if you'll come in.
Yes, sir.
And right here, get into a horse stance. This section starts off with a long end of the long stick groin strike. And then, as it's recocked, the next move, hooks and strikes. What's just happened is this person is attacked to the front. Groin strike. They start to double over. You increase that by hooking the back of their head, literally even maybe the back of their upper body. And that upper punch is really up into the chest or the solar plexus. This attacker is dropping, stumbling to the right now. And now she looks to the left and she sees there's another one. And this attacker is coming in a flying side kick. Once they're in the air, they've committed themselves. They aren't going to be able to change it now. That gives her time to step back, drop, and strike up into the groin area. All right? This person drops there, and they will drop to the floor there. And the follow-up is head smash, both sides of the skull to the eardrums. All right? So let's do it one more time all together. There's the horse stance. Strike, pull them in, down goes one attacker. The next attacker, flying side kick, they go down, followed by the head smash. Another segment in the Swirling Dragon. Let's take a look at another segment of the kata, the Swirling Dragon, and see where the imaginary attackers are and what we're doing to defend ourselves against those imaginary attackers. Mr. Hillicost, if you'll come out. From this segment right here, I'm going to have Mr. Hillicost, he's in a defensive position, back stance, do his roll. And this roll has brought him right up close to the attacker. He saw this person. He knew he was going to have to make a commitment. He rolls up. This person is semi-caught off guard, but as they see him coming, they attempt to do a left center, a left side kick, either one. He blocks it. And then he counters to their other leg, to their knee area. That's the strike. That's the neutralizing strike, the block and the counter. And then the Swirling Dragon spins up and into a defensive back stance. Good. Let's do it one more time, Mr. Hillicost. Very good. Right from here, the motion is the roll, bringing himself closer to the attacker. He blocks their kick and counters to their other leg, neutralizing that attacker. The dragon spins up into a defensive back stance. Good. Thank you, Mr. Hillicost. That's another segment in the Swirling Dragon and the imaginary attackers, where that attacker actually is. All right, let's move on to another segment of the Swirling Dragon. Let's take another segment of the kata, the Swirling Dragon, and look at where the imaginary attacker is and what we do in regards to that with blocks and strikes. Ms. Vacca, if you'll come out.
Yes, sir.
We'll start off this segment. She's in a wedging block, low wedging block, in a front left stance. And the first move to the attacker in front of her is center kick. She drives him back. They stagger a little bit. Then it's a roundhouse in step. High. Good. And at this point, as they're here and they take the shot, she now spins in basically the same place, and it's a spinning back kick, driving them back and out of the way. All right, let's look at that one more time. All right. From the wedging, the center kick to this attacker, roundhouse in step, same attacker, down and spin back kick, driving them back. All right, driving them back and out of the way. At this point, she now has an open area in front of her, and she can look around and see where the next situation is and what she must do. That's another segment in regards to the imaginary attackers in the Swirling Dragon. The next segment in the Swirling Dragon, I'd like to give you some indication of how those imaginary attackers are being dealt with visually, my visual perception of them, and also how I demonstrate that by my facial expressions. From this point here, which in effect brings me to this in the kata, what I have done is I've done a motion to an attacker that's off to my right, an attacker that's off to my left. I've told them to back off. I now look at the three attackers. Where's the third one? Right in the center. I look to the one to the left. I look to the one to the right. I look in the center, and I realize the person in the center, he's still going to come. He's still trying. And he's the one I've got to be concerned with. The one on the left and the right have kind of held back just a bit, but the one in the center is coming right at me. I'm going to do a 360 from this back stance to get away from this person as quickly as possible, back to here. At this point, in mid-flow, I flip the tonfas. This person has charged. They're running right up to catch up with me. They expect me to keep backing up, but I haven't now. I've stopped. And they run right up. I hook into the back of both shoulders, pull them into me, and knee into the solar plexus. At this point, dropping the tonfas down, I now look down at this individual who has lost their breath. They've now dropped to the floor. I do an axe kick. In many tournaments, you see the axe kick, and then you see them grind their foot. Yes, I do an axe kick, and I grind my foot just a bit. The intensity is, I don't want these other two people to come. I'm trying to tell them, leave me alone. I don't want any trouble. This person has already pushed me too far. Down with the axe kick, finish. I look out, the other two attackers are coming. I'm not going to have a choice. I finish this twist by actually stepping on this person and using their body and leaping over them into an X stance. I flip the tonfas into motion. I use the short sticks, and what I've done, in effect, is jump right in between those two attackers. They weren't expecting me to come towards them. They thought they were going to meet at my position back there. I've jumped in between them. I've hooked them in the lower part of the leg, the lower part of the calf, pull up, shifting their balance. As they fall, strike. Those were the last three attackers in the kata. I come back to a nice ready stance, go into a chumbi, peace with my subconscious, my conscious mind, and my body. All right? That happens to be the last segment of the Swirling Dragon. This segment has given you an idea of some of the imaginary attackers involved in the kata, the Swirling Dragon, to help you in your intensity, power, and understanding of what you're actually doing. There are other imaginary attackers involved in the kata, but we've picked some of the more difficult ones so that you can be helped rather than trying to figure it out for 15 or 20 minutes at home as to where's the attacker in that particular sequence. We're going to go on now to the kata done in its entirety, but still in segments, where we will emphasize stances and the blocks and the techniques themselves rather than what we're defending ourselves against. And then we will do the whole kata at a couple of different speeds for you in a studio setting, which gives us plenty of room to execute all of the moves. I hope you've enjoyed this segment of the instructional videotape. I thank Ms. Vaca and Mr. Hillicost for their assistance. And let's move on now to the next segment of the kata teaching the Swirling Dragon. Now let's look at the Swirling Dragon slow motion. I'll identify some of the blocks, strikes, and some of the stances. We start creating the hole, sweeping around and down into an X block in a front stance, and then a high X block. Double lunge punch with the short end of the long stick. There's the windmill. The high-low block. Stepping into the san chin with a center block. And again, and again, and then the counter with the lunge punch and the windmill, this time recocking it into the chamber. We repeat that going in the opposite direction. Concluding again with the lunge punch, the windmill, and cocking the tonfa into the chamber. A breathing moment to identify what's happening around you. Look. We're going to pivot, low side kick, high side kick, low side kick, high side kick. Down into a horse stance, groin strike, a hook, short end of the long stick upper punch. Here's the long end of the long stick strike, dropping back into a deep floor level back stance. Moving into center block to the left with a breathing structure to it, controlling the flow of air. The pace is picked up now to an X stance, strike with the long end of the long stick. just as we had described earlier in the tape. Low instep, high instep. 45-degree angle into a back stance with a reverse punch counter. There's that leaning front stance with a high-low block. Up again into a relaxed, peaceful state, then a wedging block, and the 3 kicks we discussed. Back into a blocking defensive position, a front shoulder roll with neither tonfa nor hands touching the floor. The spin into a back stance. Feet brought back together, left foot steps out into a horse stance. Breathing motion and then block, then circular guard, lunge punch, block, circular guard, lunge punch. This is a sweeping clearing, and then up with tension and power back, driving the long ends of the long stick back to an attacker behind you. Again, a breathing, identifying period of the kata to see where the attackers are. Double groin strike to the back, double strike to the head with the short sticks. Leaning front stance, high-low lunge punches with the short end of the long stick. A guarding position. This is a back stance. Spin all the way around again into a back stance. Strike with the short sticks with a knee penetration to the solar plexus. Axe kick. The double flip of the tonfas again, stepping forward into the X stance, pulling with the short sticks and now striking with the short sticks. The right foot now slides back next to the left foot, and the left foot steps out for your chumbi stance. Now let's take a look at the kata in its entirety. But let's take a look at it first, 3/4 speed. And now let's take a look at the kata again. In its entirety, 3/4 speed, from the opposite side. This will give you a better view of some of those moves as they were going away from you or away from the camera lens. Now let's see the kata power and speed. The kata Swirling Dragon. This kata designed for men and women, all karateka, all styles. Let's see it executed power and speed first by Christy Vacca. And now we're going to see the kata executed one more time. The kata, the Swirling Dragon. And it gives me great pleasure to demonstrate this kata, power and speed, for you myself. Let's go to that segment right now.